My name is Hannah, and this is my beauty budget. Hey guys, so here I am wearing a full glam eye look and absolutely nothing else on my face other than some primer and a little bit of lip plumper. I just finished filming this eye look for a separate video in which I demonstrate the use of the Natasha Denona Gold palette, which was a Christmas gift to me this year, and talk about my opinions on that palette. But I wanted to film the footage of myself putting my base makeup on as a separate video because I've been getting a ton of questions lately about what kind of foundation I wear, essentially. I just have a lot of questions in the comments over the past couple of weeks asking about my base makeup for filming. I actually don't wear foundation when I'm filming. I only ever wear foundation for the photo shoots that I do for modeling clothing for my small business. When I sit down to film, I use a variety of other techniques to freshen and brighten and even my complexion, and I'm going to demonstrate those for you now. So let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. I did start the video with some primer on my face. I have been using the Urban Decay Optical Illusion Complexion Primer, one of my all-time favorite primers. I like this product because it blurs the fine lines in my forehead and around my eyes, and also because it brightens my complexion. It helps a little bit with redness. The other reason I like this product is that it plays well with oils. Sometimes, today for example, when I am putting a primer on my face, the last thing I put on my skin was an oil. So I used this all-purpose oil, this face and body and hair oil, to remove some of the fallout from when I did this eye look. And so my face was a little bit oily when I went in with the primer. This primer has oils in it. It's an oil product, so it doesn't pill when I layer it over oils. It seems to just melt into them and kind of blend and turn the oils into primer and turn the primer into oils, and I really like the feel and finish of that. As you can see, the skin around the perimeter of my face looks pretty decent. Sometimes I'll get spots out here if I have a healing blemish or a blemish coming up, or sometimes if my skin just is feeling sensitive and getting blotchy, sometimes it'll get not looking so great out there. I actually do have a blemish here on my chin, and I do tend to get more redness around here, but pretty much all here, and usually my whole forehead's in pretty good shape, apart from some fine lines. And then all down here, I don't feel like I need makeup on those parts of my face. And those are also the parts of the face that I feel like tend to show makeup pretty badly in person. There tends to be peach fuzz out here, there tends to be texture on my forehead, and whenever I put makeup on top of those areas, the outer part of my face, I feel like it's really conspicuous in person. It's hard for it not to look makeup-y in person. So when my skin looks good out there, I just leave it alone, and that's what I'm gonna do today. Almost every time I sit down to film, almost every video in which you see me, I don't have any makeup on my forehead, for example, and I'll have maybe blush and bronzer out here, but I don't usually have anything out here on my jaw or down my neck. Now, my main problem, so to speak, and the main thing that I would like to work on changing about the way that my face looks when it's bare, is redness. Spots also, spots and scars, but really I think that redness is the main battle for me. I don't know how well it's showing up on camera because the lights tend to really brighten and even, but I'm quite red. I'm actually going to turn the light down for a minute. Hopefully it's a little bit easier to see, although I don't know. I'm not good at lighting. I'm not very professional, but it's quite red here. And there's quite a lot of hormonal redness around my chin. I wish I could show you what it looks like in sunlight. It's dark outside right now, so I can't. Or I wish I could show you better what it looks like in person. But you can get a sense here. See how white my neck is, and then see how red my chin is in this area. I would like to kind of even those out and brighten up and calm some of the redness in my face. So I'm going to use my favorite color corrector, the Lancome Tint Idole Ultra Wear. I mean, it's my only color corrector. It's the only color corrector actually that I've ever used. I tested out a bunch of them. I think I got a bunch of samples when I was looking for one, and this was the winner. So a little goes a long way. I'm gonna squeeze a little bit out onto my finger, just a little bit. It's like a grain of rice sized amount. And then I'm going to spread it thin. I've really spread it out, and I'm just going to press it into my skin where it's red. It's a subtle change, but to me, it makes all the difference. It makes me much, much less inclined to want to go in with a bunch of base products, foundation, concealer, etc. It makes me feel like I have increased the surface area of my skin that I feel comfortable leaving alone. And again, I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see the difference on camera, but I'm hoping that if any of you deal with redness and you've been wondering how to use like a paste format color corrector like this, it will at least have helped to see me apply it, and you might be able to get a little sample of this in the store. I got this at Sephora, and then try that for yourself and see the difference in person for yourself. And then lately I have been going in with the smidgiest smidge of Shape Tape. I really enjoy this concealer. I haven't tried any since I got this. This is my second tube of Shape Tape. The first one I got well over a year ago. Obviously it was maybe during late 2016 it could have been. And then I replaced it as a replacement during my no-buy year when I ran out of that. So I've had no reason to test out any other concealers, and I know that people say that this is drying, but I use so little of it and I really sheer it out. And even though I have dry skin, I've never really had a problem with it. The thing for me, the thing that seals the deal is the shade. It's very, very light. I use the shade Fair. It's very, very light and very, very neutral, and that's pretty much me. It's hard for me to find a concealer in any brand that's lighter than my skin, like that's actually a brightening, a highlighting color on me, and this is that. So I might try another brand. I might try the ColourPop one when I finish this, because it would be nice to buy a much less expensive concealer as my go-to, but this tube still has a lot of life in it, so I'm pretty happy with it. Now, there's not all that much redness going on in my skin right now. It's pretty calm, so I'm gonna go in with the littlest smidge to start. Just these little smidgy dots. It's such a small amount. And then I'm taking my Pro Mini Flawless Airbrush. This was a Sephora VIB Rouge gift one time, and I'm gonna blend that out. So I just kept it to the part of my skin that was red. I don't want makeup on the parts of my skin where I don't feel like something needs to be changed. And even if there's some imperfection, like there's some unevenness, if you're looking in person, there is some blotchiness here. You can see little faint old scars, but I don't feel like I really need to cover that. I don't feel like it's so bad, like it's really, really changing my appearance or making me look raw, like the redness kind of can. That redness right there was making me look kind of shiny and raw faced. So I feel like I've evened that out and blended the brightness of the rest of my skin into what was kind of a shiny red area. So I'm happy with that. It's blended out so sheer that you really can't see it. You really can't see it on my skin. It doesn't look like makeup. And now I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing in my chin area, and then possibly the teeniest, tiniest dot on my forehead, not because I have redness on my forehead, but just because I've highlighted these three parts of my face, and it helps to highlight up there just to balance it out a little bit. There, I'm sure you'll be able to see the difference, see how much more brightened it looks, see how much more even and clear my skin looks, even though I haven't covered any blemishes yet, and I do have. So I don't know if you could see that when I went in close to the camera, but I do have some healing spots and some new spots around my chin. I'm going to go ahead and conceal them carefully. And then I might also conceal a tiny bit of hormonal redness around the kind of cracks of my nose. I didn't want to go in there with Shape Tape because it has the potential to kind of build up or to look too white there. But this, the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer, is a really good perfect match for my skin tone. Rather than being a brightening concealer, it's a good spot concealer because it really blends right into my skin. So I prefer to use it for area concealment like that and for spot concealment. I'm using this little tiny brush to do that. Okay, so there's the spot concealing done. If you see me in person, if you were to see me in person right now, you would see that my skin is not completely one tone. It's not totally even. This blemish in particular down here, it's three-dimensional. It's definitely more red than the rest of my skin. I was not able to cover it completely such that it is totally the same color as the rest of my skin. And there is some modeling right here. It's light, so I didn't cover it. And there just are parts of my skin, the blemishes, I didn't try to paste makeup over top of them so that it's just like a blank sheet of paper in terms of color, if that makes sense. I just did my best to lighten them and smooth it out a little bit to sort of drag the slider bar from contrasty to less contrasty. So my skin doesn't look flawless, but the blemishes and the redness are very well disguised for the camera, for filming. They're very well disguised for photographs, for example, and just for talking to someone briefly. Like if I'm talking to someone, they're looking at my eyes, not just because of this look, but because we tend to look into each other's eyes when we talk. They're not going to be staring at my skin, so they're going to see clear skin because they're looking right here, they're looking here, and the general impression is of clear skin. It's not of blemished and red skin, which is what I looked like when I woke up this morning with nothing on my face, and it's also not an impression of a caked on face of makeup, like a totally unnatural monolith of color. I'm willing to go out into the world sporting some spots, sporting some unevenness, instead of looking like I have a lot of makeup on my face. And this is what I almost always do when I'm getting ready to film. This is almost always how I create kind of a smooth canvas for the rest of the color cosmetics. Speaking of the rest of the color cosmetics, I'm going to go ahead and finish my face, and then I'm going to come back and just talk you through what else I used on my face. I'm not going to include that in this demonstration because this is really just about base makeup. So I will be right back with everything else done. All right, and that is the finished look. I will tell you what else I put on my face. All of the color on my cheeks and everything is from the Kevyn Aucoin Neo Highlighter. It's an ombre product. I've talked about it all the time and I'm crushed that I've almost finished using it up. But it goes from sort of a bronzy, shimmery powder, not shimmery, but very soft highlighting bronzy color through to a very soft highlighting, very pale color with like a peachy color in between. And so I use it kind of like as a blush and a bronzer and an all over very light bronze. So this time I really warmed up my skin. I actually took it on a big fluffy brush over the top of my forehead a little bit. I even took it down on my chin and neck to draw everything together. And then I went kind of hard with it just on the tips of my cheekbones. Then on my lips, I put the first lipstick that I bought in 2019 with part of my budget. And it's this, the Maybelline Matte Lipstick in Beige Babe. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this and why I chose it at the end of the month when I give you the roll call of everything I bought. But needless to say, it's a very matte, very pale twiggy nude, but I put it on today and I wanted it to be even lighter. So I actually went in with my MAC chromographic pencil in NC15 and W20, this cream colored all-purpose pencil, and I lightened the lip up even further. So this isn't purely the Maybelline lipstick. It's like a combo of those two, a custom color. Then I put my mole back on with a little eyeliner, and my brows are looking a little light lately. I think it's time for me to dye them again, but I decided not to fill them in with anything today. I just sort of brushed them up using the NYX Control Freak Brow Gel, which is working okay for me. The jury's still out. It's working okay. And I think that's everything. Oh, there were a couple of more things that I did I wanted to tell you about. After I had done all of that, all of what I just described, I did take a little bit of a matte pressed powder. So I used the matte side of this Matte to Shimmer Kevyn Aucoin powder on my finger, and I patted it over top of this three-dimensional blemish on my chin. Can you see that blemish right there? It had just become a little bit shiny in the course of things, and so I made it more matte with what is essentially a translucent pressed powder, and it worked really well. When I did that, it kind of receded and it became less prominent on my face. And then lastly, I sprayed my face down with the Pixi Glow Mist, and after I had sprayed it down, it's a very glowy mist, so I took the same buffing brush that I had used for my Shape Tape, and I gently went over my chin, my smile lines, and my under eye area, and just softened the glow a little bit using this brush. I just wanted to mattify a tiny bit in those areas, and I also did it a tiny bit in the center of my forehead. Not very aggressively, just to kind of buff in the setting spray and not have it be quite so shiny in those areas. And that truly and thoroughly is everything that I did to achieve this look. If you have any questions about how I do my base makeup, if anything was unclear from this video, please leave me a comment in the comment section down below, and I will absolutely get to that comment and answer all of your questions. If you are interested in moving away from full coverage and more towards doing some lighter base makeup, kind of like what I've demonstrated here, but you're still at sea and you don't know where to start, and this video wasn't enough for you and you have more questions, please reach out to me because I would love to help with that. Okay, it's time for me to end this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you will remember to take extra good care of yourself this week so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.